You're in a crowded elevator, you lift your arm to check the time, and you're hit with a sudden, terrifying question. Did I forget deodorant? In that instant, your armpits become a national security threat. You spend the rest of the day with your arms pinned to your sides like a T-Rex, praying no one asks you to reach for something on a high shelf. That little stick of scented wax is our daily confidence booster, our chemical shield against the world. But this simple solution to a universal human problem is a shockingly recent invention. So what did our ancestors do? Just walk around in a cloud of their own personal funk? Did they just accept their smelly fate? Humanity has been fighting a desperate, losing battle against body odor since the dawn of time. Their methods were just a lot weirder, a lot messier, and in some cases, involved scraping yourself with a metal knife. So, let's take a journey back to the great BO battlefields of history, to a time when your best defense against smelling bad was to just smell like something else, but louder. Our story begins, as it so often does, in ancient Egypt. The Egyptians were obsessed with cleanliness, purity, and not smelling like they'd just wrestled a hippo in a swamp. They were, to put it mildly, allergic to being funky, but they didn't have deodorant. So they opted for a strategy of overwhelming olfactory force. First, they attacked the source. Less hair means less space for stank-causing bacteria to throw a party. So, they shaved. Everything. Men, women, it didn't matter. They used sharp bronze razors and tweezers to create a smooth, hairless canvas. Then, they would wash with water and a basic soap made from animal fat and soda ash. But that was just the prep work. The main event was perfume. They were masters of it. They would soak aromatic woods and flowers like frankincense, myrrh, and lily in oil to create powerful, long-lasting scents. They'd rub this stuff everywhere, but their greatest invention was the perfumed wax cone. Yes, you heard me. They would plop a cone of scented wax on top of their heads at parties. As the party heated up, the cone would slowly melt, dribbling a continuous stream of fragrant, greasy perfume down their face, neck, and clothes. It was a slow-release human air freshener. Was it sticky? Yes. Was it a fire hazard? Probably. But did it work? Absolutely. You couldn't smell their BO because you were too busy smelling the small mountain of melting lily wax on their head. Let's head over to the Roman Empire. The Romans loved their massive public bathhouses, the thermae. This was the ancient equivalent of a spa day, a business meeting, and a public pool, all rolled into one naked, steamy package. But, like the Egyptians, they didn't really use soap for their bodies. Their method was a bit more aggressive. First, you'd slather your entire body in olive oil. Just marinate yourself in it. The oil would trap all the dirt and sweat. Then, you'd take a metal scraper called a strigil and proceed to scrape every inch of your body, removing the oil and all the human grime it had collected. It was the original squeegee method for people. This removed the sweat and bacteria, which definitely helped with the smell. But the Romans, being Romans, didn't stop there. After their scrape down, they doused themselves in perfumes and pomades. They had entire shops, called unguentari, dedicated to selling exotic scents from across the empire. A high-status Roman man would smell like a complex bouquet of flowers, spices, and sheer, unadulterated confidence. So the Roman solution was to first violently scrape the funk off, and then cover up any remaining evidence with a cloud of expensive perfume. It was brutal, it was effective, and it was a great way to show everyone you could afford the good stuff from Gaul. All right, let's talk about the Middle Ages. The popular myth is that everyone was just wallowing in filth for 1,000 years straight. That's not entirely true. People did wash. The problem was, cities were getting crowded, and sanitation was, to put it mildly, not a top priority. The whole world just got a lot smellier. Without easy access to Roman-style bathhouses, people had to get creative with their personal scent bubbles. Their main weapon was herbs. They would chew on parsley or cloves for bad breath, and stuff their clothes with little sachets of lavender, rosemary, and mint. It was a low-tech botanical approach to not offending your neighbors. For the wealthy, there was a fancier option, the pomander. This was a small metal ball, often made of silver or gold, filled with a potent mixture of aromatic stuff like ambergris, which is basically fossilized whale vomit, by the way, musk, and civet. You'd wear this on a chain around your neck or waist. It was your own personal portable air freshener. The pomander wasn't just about smelling good. They thought these strong, pleasant smells could ward off diseases like the plague, which they believed was spread by bad air or miasma. The plague doctor mask with its giant beak? That beak was stuffed with herbs and spices for the exact same reason. It was the world's most terrifying air freshener. Moving into the 16th, 17th, and 18th centuries, something weird happened. The European upper class got scared of water. Doctors, including the famous Galen, had theories that bathing opened up the pores and let in disease. They treated a hot bath like a summons from the Grim Reaper. So, the wealthiest people in society just stopped bathing. So how did King Louis XIV, a man who reportedly only took 3 baths in his entire life, not smell like a dead badger? One word: perfume. A tidal wave of it. They didn't use perfume to enhance their natural scent. They used it as a replacement for soap and water. It was an act of olfactory warfare. They would douse their wigs, their clothes, their furniture, and even their gloves with incredibly strong, musk-based scents. Their goal was to create a perfume cloud so dense that no other smell could possibly penetrate it. It was the Great Unwashed Era, where being rich meant you could afford to smell like a flower shop that had been hit by a truck, instead of just smelling like you. The daily cleaning routine for a noble involved changing their linen shirt, as they believed the clean linen would absorb the body's filth, and applying a fresh coat of powder and perfume. It was a dry clean-only approach to personal hygiene. Finally, we get to the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Science is happening. People are starting to understand that tiny little things called bacteria are the real culprits behind body odor. And with this new knowledge comes the birth of a new industry, the anti-stink business. The first ever commercial deodorant, a waxy cream called Mum, hit the market in 1888. It was a deodorant, meaning it used zinc oxide to kill the bacteria, but it didn't stop the sweat. It was a start, but the real revolution came from a high school girl in Cincinnati named Edna Murphy. Her father, a surgeon, had invented a liquid to stop his hands from sweating during operations. It was an antiperspirant made of aluminum chloride. Edna realized this stuff could be used for armpits. She called her new product Odorono, as in odor, and tried to sell it. It flopped hard, because in 1912 it was considered incredibly rude to suggest that a lady, well, smelled. So, in 1919, Edna hired a genius ad man who created one of the most ruthless and effective marketing campaigns of all time. The ad, printed in the Ladies' Home Journal, didn't sell a product. It sold a problem. It told a story of a beautiful woman who loses her boyfriend because of a delicate matter she's not even aware of, her own underarm odor. The ad basically invented social anxiety about body odor. Sales exploded. She had successfully shamed an entire nation into buying her product. This campaign created the modern deodorant industry. It convinced us that our natural smell was a social disease, and that the only cure was in a bottle. Within a few decades, we had roll-ons inspired by ballpoint pens, aerosol sprays, and the solid stick we know and love today. From melting head waxes and body scrapers to herbal amulets and industrial-strength perfume clouds, humanity's war on funk has been a long and creative one. We've tried covering it, scraping it, and pretending it wasn't there. Every step was a desperate attempt to not be that guy in the room. Every swipe of that deodorant stick is the result of thousands of years of trial and error. Mostly error. It's the culmination of a journey from simply masking the smell to understanding and neutralizing the source. So the next time you casually apply your deodorant in the morning, take a second. That simple act is a modern marvel of chemistry and marketing. It's your personal peace treaty in the age-old war against your own armpits. Be grateful that your solution is a 2-second swipe and not a greasy, melting hat.